Running backs, guys you're higher on. You like D'Onta Foreman. We actually talked about him earlier. You like him at running back 15. Wow. 5 up from the experts. You also like Kareem Hunt, kind of for obvious reasons, I would say, at Seattle. You like him at 22. Experts like him all the way down at 26. I think you might both be low, actually.
Yeah, and reminder too, when we go through these, I'm not just picking I'm higher on Christian McCaffrey. We're trying to get those guys that are fringe on your mind, those sit starts that you don't know exactly which way to go. That's the whole point of this, rather than just say, yeah, I love this top 7 running back that everybody loves and that everyone's going to start anyways. So of course, there's going to be some guys I like more than Foreman and Hunt, but I have them both higher by 4 to 5 spots. Then the ECR Foreman, maybe it's just the fact that he buried me in my main league last week, 30 points on me, but he was the running back 1, and you got to keep that upside in mind. 15 and 16 carries his last 2 games, looked good for the Bears as well. They've really just kind of re-identified themselves around that physical pounding presence, and I get that. The risk here is what if they get game flowed out, the Chargers come and knock the doors off them, but this defense has really embraced the physical identity of the offense too, and they've been one of the tougher matchups for passing games over the last 3 weeks. It looks great on paper, but they have actually been more of the stifling defense in the league right now. Bottom 10 matchup for quarterbacks in their last 3 games. So I think the defense might keep it a little closer, at least for long enough that Foreman can get his. And I do think they'll come out really trying to run it down their throat, control the clock. And this is not a good run D. As bad as the pass D is, the worst pass D in the league. It overshadows the fact that it's still not a great run D by any means because the pass D is just so bad. That's all everyone focuses on. But with Tyson Bagent at quarterback, they're going to want to continue to hammer that run. I think D'Onta Foreman, yes, Roschon's coming back. But honestly, Foreman had 30 points last week, and that was with Darrington Evans playing even more snaps than him, which is shocking to say. But it's true. He was not even the snap leader. Well, he just got rid to the ground and crushed that defense. So I really, really like Foreman. I'm going to continue to ride him out here because I think that's how they're going to try to beat the Chargers. And then Kareem Hunt, running back 10 and 11 his past 2 games while playing second fiddle to Jerome Ford. Now he's going to have the lead back. That's because he's had the passing lead role there. He's had the goal line role there. So the most valuable touches have been Kareem Hunt's, but now you're going to add 5-6 more carries on top of that in this ultra productive Kevin Stefanski zone scheme that has always made quality production from Kareem Hunt before. He's always been a top 12, 24 running back as the starter through the past. So with the most valuable touches, with the production already very solid, back-to-back 15-point days, and then we get at least 15 more points from Kareem Hunt, and he can definitely pay off that fringe running back 2 ranking. I think he blows that out of the water. I love Kareem Hunt this week.
All right, guys, you're lower on Aaron Jones going against the Vikings. You got him at 21. That's just 2 below the experts. But I do want to hear what you have to say on him. I have my thoughts on him as well. Alex Mattison at the Packers, same game, different team. You like him at 31. The experts like him all the way up at 22. I'll say this with Aaron Jones, you were really high on him in the Denver game. I don't want to put it all on you. I agreed with what you were saying. And he could not have been more of a disappointment.
No, huge disappointment. Got the best possible matchup you can possibly ask for last week for a running back. Literally the number 1 current team in points allowed, yards allowed, everything. And he did nothing with it because A.J. Dillon saw 57% of the snaps compared to 34% for Aaron Jones. 47% of the routes going to A.J. Dillon. He's a horrible pass catcher, and only 35% of the routes for Aaron Jones. And also 56% of the rushing share going to Dillon as well. 30% for Aaron Jones. And Dillon sucks, and yet they're still riding him out because they're not confident in Aaron Jones' health, apparently. Minnesota also tough against running backs, 27th in points allowed. I think until I see Aaron Jones get that full practice report off the injury report type of situation, I just have a hard time trusting him. And he had been one of those guys set and forget first week, running back 1 in fantasy. You can't have that type of upside on your bench. It is tough to bench him. I get it. And I wouldn't in every situation, considering I have him as a fringe top 20 guy. But if you have good options, let me know. Ask that in the questions because he absolutely has that non-benchable. You can't bench him. That is erased for me with him at not full health right now. The team just does not seem willing and ready to commit to him. And he already said today, my hamstring's still sore. I don't feel good. So that worries me. And I think I might actually bump him down a little bit more the more I talk about him right now. Alexander Mattison, even lower in that other side of the game, 9 spots below the ECR at running back 31. He's ranked right as a top 24 running back, and I don't get it. Yes, 2 weeks ago, 78% of the snaps, 82% of the rush. He was a workhorse back. But last week, he actually got overtaken in a rushing department by Cam Akers, who had 48% of the rush attempts compared to 38% for Mattison. Also had 7% of the targets. They both combined and they both shared the target share there. And Cam Akers did a whole lot more damage with his touches. He looked really good out there, honestly, compared to certainly when you're used to seeing Mattison just slug his way down the field. Cam Akers had some real juice, and I would not be shocked at all if this is a week, and we'll talk about it with like Devin Singletary and Dameon Pierce in a second. I could see a lot of backs kind of taking over their respective backfields that were running back twos entering the year on the backup plans, and now they're just better options than the starters. This has the feeling of that to me. I think Cam Akers, this is the week we really see him outsnap him and everything else moving forward.
Hail Marys, and this is another guy I wrote an article on, Devin Singletary, who you just referenced. He's going at Carolina. Could be a juicy matchup there. He's only 15% rostered. And you know, as it says here, he might be the Houston running back. I can actually speak intelligently on this guy because I just did a bunch of research on him. You also like Pierre Strong at Seattle this week. He's probably barely owned by anybody, but I can understand the appeal of him too. Let's talk about Singletary for a minute. And this is just purely a product of Dameon Pierce being terrible, right?
Yeah, I know you wrote very well about this, but had 2.6 yards per carry his last time out. No game above 3.5 yards per pop on the season. It has been abysmal. He's had 97 carries, 9th in the NFL, and only one of those has gone for more than 10 yards. Singletary, conversely, has had only 39 attempts, and he's had 3 10-plus yard rushes on there. So already significantly more explosive rush rate, and he's coming off a game where he saw season highs in snap, rush, route, and target shares, all 4 of the major usage metrics. He actually had more snaps last time out than Dameon Pierce with 52% compared to just 35% for Dameon Pierce in a game they were leading the entire time, and you'd think that would be the script to favor Dameon Pierce. So it seems like they were already turning the keys over to Devin Singletary ahead of Pierce. We know that Devin Singletary is the one that this coaching staff brought in rather than inherit, and this might be the week, given that Pierce just is not a good fit for this wide zone scheme that requires speed, requires you to get up in a hurry. He doesn't have that. He's a bruiser. He can break tackles, kind of. Even this year, though, that was his strength. He's among the league's worst in yards after contact right now. He's just been a slug. He is not looking good at all. I don't know what happened to the kid that was dominating last year and showing some real juice. But Singletary, it never been a ultra sexy guy, but he's always just kind of churned and gotten it done. And I think he takes over this backfield. It's one of the top 10 offenses in the league in total yardage. And now you got Singletary, I think, takes over that lead role. And he's still only 15% rostered right now. Even if you don't have to play him, he's got to be on more teams than this. I love Devin Singletary at minimum as a bench stash. And if you're desperate in a pinch, I think you can absolutely start him. Was there anything you wrote about, Truth, that I missed in that kind of recap there?
I mean, you know, a lot of it's rehashing just different versions of the same stuff. I mean, Singletary's yards per carry is not amazing. It's, I think, 3.9, but it's literally 3.9. Pierce has never, even in a game this year, averaged 3.9 yards per carry. So, I mean, he's doing more with less. He hasn't been overwhelming. You know, the line leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's clearly not working with Pierce. And so I would be shocked if it's not at least a 50-50 split this week, maybe more. And Singletary is available like everywhere.
And the line's a really good point too. They've been banged up all year, but all reports are they're fully healthy out of this bye, and they were supposed to be a strength of this team. Lots of first-round talent injected, lots of money injected this offseason. So I am very intrigued to see what this offense looks like with a fully healthy offensive line for the first time this year. So, yeah, that's an interesting point to bring up, too. Pierre Strong, it's just all about the speed. This kid has 99th percentile, 4.37 40 speed. He's a great fit, was known as one of the best, according to PFF grades, one of the best zone runners in college football when he was a draft prospect, and nobody runs more outside wide zone than the Browns. So this is definitely a game we got Jerome Ford definitely out at least a week, maybe 2. Pierre Strong actually ended up leading this team in snaps once they had Jerome Ford out. He had 8 rushes compared to Hunt's 5. Now we know Hunt is getting those invaluable receptions, the valuable goal line work, but having Pierre Strong in there more often than him, something that you got to make note of for sure. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.